With the NCAA's new mandate that football programs get their rosters down to 105 players max, a number of guys just won't have homes here, at least by the end of next fall camp, or I should say by the beginning of next fall camp. But also, this is the time of year, this December, where guys are testing the waters. Some guys are jumping from school to school looking for better NIL opportunities or just more playing time. And that appears to be the case with Hawkeye receiver / quarterback James Resar, who I know Hawkeye fans were real excited about heading into the summer. He just got here this past summer. We'll talk about Resar's announcement that he will be entering the transfer portal. We'll talk about it in just a second. But first, I want to thank our two sponsors, Iowa Floor Covering. Visit iowafloorcovering.com/DIY. If you have a flooring project on your hands, be sure you're getting good advice from people that are sharing your same values and care about you and your family. Check out iowafloorcovering.com. Use the /DIY to learn more about their do-it-yourself flooring. Again, that's iowafloorcovering.com/DIY. And be sure you buy a Hawkeye print from our guy Randy Engel down in Mitchellville. He operates Under the Kitchen, a number of authentic pieces of Hawkeye artwork, signed and unsigned prints available. Browse the selection, visit underthekitchen.square.site or check out his Facebook page. The link to that is in our description. So Hawkeye quarterback / receiver James Resar took to social media earlier today to announce that he would be departing from Iowa and pursuing other opportunities. A short and concise announcement via James Resar's Twitter page, and that read, and I quote, "I have filed my paperwork to enter the transfer portal. I will have 4 years of eligibility remaining." And then he tags a couple of former coaches, one being Tim Krause, who was he and Michael Myslinski's high school head coach. So interesting. Both those guys played at Bishop Kenny down in Florida. And what's interesting about this storyline here is he moved from quarterback to receiver. Of course, out of high school, he was lauded for his athleticism. He ran a number of 100-meter dash times at under 11. In fact, he's got one official time of 10.67 and then several others in the mid 10.8 range, which is really good speed for a guy who's 6'4", 212 pounds. But it's clear that Tim Lester and the staff did not like what they saw at quarterback when he first got here. And remember, he got here in the summer, did not enroll early. And when the announcement was made that he had moved to receiver, I remember saying personally, hey, maybe this means that Tim Lester, Coach Bud Meyer, and this offensive staff really see something in Resar's ability to play receiver. Let's not forget, guys like Marvin McNutt made that transition. And boy, I don't think Marvin McNutt ever regretted that move. He turned out to be an incredibly productive receiver, set records by playing receiver at the University of Iowa, former quarterback with really good size and hands. Now, who knows if James Resar has got good hands or route running ability, but this is an indicator that he wants to play quarterback somewhere else. So he'll look for greener pastures. I know what fans are going to jump on. This is yet another quarterback that has moved on from the program. Just run down the list, whether you talk about Joe Labus, Alex Padilla, James Resar, Spencer Petras, Deuce Hogan. I mean, we can go down the list. Carson May, just about every quarterback, since 2021, as far as a high school recruit. Now, Deacon Hill was not a high school recruit. I'll acknowledge that. But everybody ends up transferring out either because they're buried on the depth chart or they're just not happy. Like a Carson May, James Resar really didn't take a lot of time to kind of toy with the system. And of course, both those guys, different situations with Carson May and the Brian Ferentz offense and this with James Resar and Tim Lester's offense. But hey, I mean, if a guy doesn't want to make a position change and it's that obvious to Tim Lester and the staff that he's not cut out to be a college quarterback, I have no reason to doubt Tim Lester's ability to evaluate. That's a pretty direct decision and quick decision to move him to receiver. So be critical of it if you want. Now, some of his high school accolades, if you check out his bio on the University of Iowa website, he was first team All-District and Jacksonville Super 11 as a senior, second team All-State, first team All-District as a junior, honorable mention All-State, first team All-District as a sophomore, and a team captain as a senior. He was a 4-year letterman at quarterback, passed for over 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns that senior year, also rushed for over 350 yards and 4 TDs, passed for over 2,000 yards and ran for nearly 500 as a junior, had 10 touchdown rushes, 17 through the air. I mean, you just go down the list here. Tons of production down at Bishop Kenny. The team qualified for the state playoffs as a junior, senior, and as a sophomore. His team won 8 games his sophomore and junior years, and he earned 4 letters in track. So very, very successful high school athlete. And how about that last note, 100-meter district champion as a junior? The big thing was when he got here, I remember talking about it. Hey, he's a guy who probably can develop with his arm, but's got great speed, and he's big. He can see over the line of scrimmage. So he's a pocket passer with great mobility. And for years, that's what Hawkeye fans have been calling for. I don't think fans in general want Iowa to move to a quote-unquote spread. We've seen what Wisconsin, what's happened there, trying to gather athletes that fit that new system to a very rural area. I mean, it's just a very odd fit with Luke Fickell up at Madison. Now, maybe it will still end up working out 2 years in, but that's not what Hawkeye fans have been calling for. They've been calling for having a quarterback that can play a pro-style offense, but also scramble and move. And the hope was that James Resar could be that. Obviously, the staff did not like something or other. Now, James Resar, after he made that move to receiver, suffered a non-contact knee injury, which ended his freshman season. So you feel for him on that level. And you feel for James Resar if he came here with full expectation that he was going to play quarterback and then Iowa moved him. I get the frustration there, but hey, he was a Brian Ferentz kid. Let's remember that. Now, he did have some other offers from some high major schools. It's not like Brian Ferentz was pulling him out of the dirt. This is a kid who did have offers from Indiana, had an offer from Georgia Tech, from Wake Forest, from North Carolina, and a number of other FBS schools. But it will be hard for him to find a spot on scholarship at another FBS school. Not impossible. It could happen, but I do think he'll have some questions to answer regarding his health with that knee and why was he moved so quickly from quarterback to receiver. And the fact that Resar did not bother to even thank Kirk Ferentz, the program, the fans. I know he's only been here for like 6 months, but I think that's somewhat telling. A very short, concise announcement. Most athletes, if you recall, will at least make some attempt to thank the coaches and the teammates, the fan base for embracing them. This was very short and concise from James Resar. I think it's very clear he is moving on. And best of wishes to him. Iowa's got to get that number down to 105 one way or another. They're hovering right around 120, I think, right now. Of course, they only brought in 2 walk-ons in this class that they signed this week, and a lot of walk-ons are moving on. We'll talk about one here in the coming days that is already announced, actually a couple that have already announced they're entering the transfer portal. So we shall see what we shall see, but it opens up another scholarship, I guess, at receiver. And yes, they still have that spot to fill at quarterback because he was their 2024 quarterback. Iowa brings in Jimmy Sullivan in 2025. He signed yesterday as well. So just wanted to relay the news to you. I don't really have a whole lot of reaction other than what I said here about a month ago when the move was announced, that it must be abundantly clear to this staff and to Tim Lester that he was not a fit at quarterback. They held on to him, honored his scholarship. He honored his commitment when the staff change occurred. But Tim Lester's got to do what he's got to do. And maybe we'll find out that Tim Lester is not evaluating quarterbacks to the level that he needs to, but it's way too early to make that call. And based on his resume, I'm going to give him time to do that. Brian Ferentz proved he was inadequate as it related to identifying quarterback talent, evaluating, developing that talent, etc. Let's give Tim Lester some time. Kind of have to just let the cards fall where they do, let the chips fall where they do. And let's hope Iowa can get at least one guy out of the portal. I think they're going to have to do that and hopefully retain Brendan Sullivan and maybe Marco Lainez along the way. But it's hard to retain people now, especially at quarterback. If they're not playing, they want to go explore their options. And I get it. Only one guy can play. Again, latest here throughout the month of December, there's going to be a lot of transfer portal news, a lot of recruiting news. And of course, we'll get official bowl announcement on Sunday. Preview coverage, all that. And men's and women's basketball, we've got double post-game coverage. This Saturday, the Hawkeye women play out in Brooklyn against Tennessee. The men are in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We'll be giving you live post-game coverage on Saturday. Keep it locked right here. Hit that thumbs up button on the way out, folks, and we'll talk to you next time.